Hello everyone, and welcome to my General Hospital YouTube channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. From here, Mommy Dearest will handle things. Monday, January 22, 2024's General Hospital recap shows Esme showing up at the jail to plead for assistance. Heather was also more than willing to assist. This episode also featured Chase and Brooke Lynn pleading with Gregory for a kind gesture. Spencer defended his awful ability to make decisions. Martin turned his back on Lucy, while Scott played both sides. Carly eventually received justice, although it was a little too drastic for her tastes. Let's examine the specifics in more detail now. Mom comes to help. Esme arrived at the jail to visit Heather. She informed her about Ace's abduction, her visitation with Cyrus, and the threat made by Spencer, Nicholas Alexander Chavez, to imprison her. It was all so shocking to Heather. The greatest advice she could give Esme was to run. She will miss her child, for sure, but the risk of staying was too great. Naturally, Esme had no intention of doing that. She would not abandon her son. They needed to track him down and get revenge on all those who had harmed her. Return on investment? Retaliation? Heather found that to be rather pleasing. She committed to doing everything within her cell. Hell, she was never stopped by prison bars. But she cautioned Esme to take caution and do the same. Yes, Esme also had no intention of doing that. Now that she knew Heather was on board, she was putting her all into it. Laura gave Spencer a hard time at the hospital while they were waiting for the police. When Dante arrived, Laura forced Spencer to come clean. He acknowledged that he gave Ace to his father, but he had valid explanations. It was wiser to choose Nick, Adam Huss, than Esme. Even if Nick and Spencer's actions with Ace were lawful, Nick is still wanted. The next time Spencer visited his father, Dante threatened to call the police. Subsequently, he sent a notice to locate Nicholas and departed to locate Esme. Laura later expressed concern that Esme would do anything if her memories returned. Sweet retaliation. Meanwhile, as Carly and Drew made fun of Nina, things at Crimson broke out. Hey, this is retaliation. As Nina flipped over, the magazine tore out from under her, and Carly looked as arrogant as ever. After a while, Drew repeatedly asked Nina to go, and she complied. She bolted off to find a bathroom so she could cry. Olivia was also in that same one. Olivia surprised Nina by showing empathy for her predicament and sobtail. But when she was by herself, Nina swore vengeance on her foes. Upon returning to the workplace, Carly was ecstatic to defeat Nina. But she wasn't sure she wanted to be the chief editor. She promised to keep the seat warm for Drew until he recruited a replacement. Drew, though, was against that. Carly was what he wanted. To appease her spouse, she grudgingly consented to work 2 full-time jobs, there and at Bobby's. Speaking of cunning partnerships, Scott revealed to Tracy Lucy's scheme to have her destroyed. Tracy attempted to shrug it off, but she saw that Scott wasn't kidding. Still, she wasn't really concerned. What possible harm might Lucy cause? Martin, Michael E. Knight, arrived back at the same moment and was overjoyed to see his lady love at last. That is, until he realized she wasn't as excited to see him. He thought it over and decided to break things up. Lucy pursued him because she couldn't let this love tale end. In relation to love stories, Chase and Brooke Lynn asked Gregory to lunch so they could talk about their upcoming nuptials. They wanted him to serve as the officiant in addition to being present on the special day. Gregory was honored by the idea. However, he wasn't entirely certain that he could pull it off. Gregory revealed that he didn't want to break their vows because ALS was starting to damage his speech. Chase and BLQ sympathized with him, but they couldn't see anyone else getting married. Following extensive deliberation, Gregory consented to join them at the altar, provided that a backup officiant was available. Jordan Ashford, where did those men take him? According to General Hospital spoilers for January 23, 2024, a number of people are anxious about test results, an impending trial, and a buddy who has vanished. This is an episode you should not miss. Jordan Ashford has been working double shifts lately. She works as Laura's deputy mayor first. Finding the identify of the individual who shot Curtis is the other task she has been working on. Suddenly, two men flanked her on the docks, and then she vanished with them, so clearly she was onto something. The thing is this, Anna and she were meant to meet at Charlie's pub. Jordan would not abandon her without informing her. Anna is naturally concerned about her pal. Can the former agent manage to locate her? And will Jordan be alright when she does? Those men, who were Thage, Trissy, Quartermain, must be enjoying the fun of keeping Scott in the dark about her knowledge that he and Lucy are attempting to set her up, because she made the decision to go along with his cute act for the time being. What is her approach then? When is she going to reveal that Lucy and Scott have no chance of robbing her of her wealth? When it comes to their relationship, Lucy and Martin are totally out of step these days. She was hanging out with Scott a lot, and Martin had to have noticed. Lucy is most likely telling Martin that she only has eyes for him if she needs to reassure him, or that she isn't acting foolishly. Either of those two choices, Curtis is feeling a great deal anxious. It's time to find out how well his surgery went. What happens if his legs remain unresponsive? What kind of response will he get? Furthermore, what further steps will he and his family take after that? Lastly, Finn is another guy who is experiencing tension and anxiety. What's causing these uneasy sensations? His trial is about to begin. He will soon discover whether or not this malpractice case will negatively impact his career. Here are your weekly General Hospital spoilers from SoapHub, in case you missed them last Friday. They inform you of the whereabouts of your preferred Port Charles power players in the coming days. This is the preview video for your GH spoilers. See what the big shots in Port Charles are up to this week. Donnie questions Spencer about what happened with his younger brother at the start of the action. He acknowledges, "I let my father take Ace." After that, Dante informs the younger man, "Maybe I should be arresting you instead," which puts him in a somewhat embarrassing situation. Meanwhile, Trina, Spencer's lady love, and the rest of her family are anxious about Curtis and are on tenterhooks. As his anxious family watches, he asks his doctor, "Did the surgery work or didn't it?" The doctor decides it's time to find out and removes the bandages from his foot, ready to examine. At last, Nina begins to realize that Drew is using his influence to replace her at Crimson with Carly Laura Wright. She tells herself, if Carly and Drew want a war, they got one. As she glances in the mirror, watch the sneak peek video down below. The action begins with Dante confronting Spencer about what happened to his baby brother. "I let my father take Ace," he admits. That puts Dante in an unpleasant position, as he tells the younger man, "Perhaps I should arrest you instead." Meanwhile, Spencer's lady love, Trina, is on pins and needles with the rest of her family because they are worried about Curtis. Did the surgery work or not? He asks his doctor, as his frightened family looks on. It is time to find out, so the doctor removes the covers off his foot and prepares to examine it. Nina finally realizes Drew's power maneuver against her, replacing her at Crimson with Carly Laura Wright. She promises herself, if Carly and Drew want a war, they've got one. Watch the preview video for yourself below. Thanks for watching if you like this video, so please don't forget to subscribe my channel and don't miss any update.